Hello, this is Ken, showing you the Ken's Talk 2013 weekly payroll Excel application. I call them Sprapp, spreadsheet applications in Excel. If you have a small business and you don't want to deal with any of the big major payroll providers that want to charge you monthly to do all your payroll, you just want to handle it all yourself because you only have a few employees, anything under 50 I would say, you can really run it in this file. This may be the answer for you. I've been doing these for 3 years now, and I've sold more than a handful of them and developed custom applications for people. So this will give you an idea of how this payroll application works, and if it might be something you're interested in, please contact me. I'd be more than happy to help build something for you. What we have here is a weekly version. So if you dish out your paychecks every week, you would put down here the day that the first time of the year that your pay period ends. So in this case, the first pay period of the year 2013, this ends on a Sunday, is 1/6/2013. So you just type it in and it'll change all your future pay periods. This is an Ohio-based template. It only has Ohio state tax rates in here. I can add other tax rates or multiple states' taxes or different state taxes, but this one's just Ohio because it's for a client I'm doing in Ohio right now. This is the unemployment maximum, $9,000, and the unemployment percentage, which is sent to you by the state. Up here we have all the employee information, W-4 allowances, and you can change this, whether the person's married or not, the number of state exemptions. This is a local or municipal tax rate here. What state are we in? We're in Ohio. This is the last name of the person, first name of the person, Social Security number, what state for unemployment, also Ohio. You put the address, city, state, zip. Here we have employee hire date. This was a custom part that I built for this client who wanted to be able to have an anniversary where they would apply a new amount of vacation hours and a new amount of sick hours as soon as the anniversary came in the year. So all you have to do is enter in, enter an employee. Say they started working in 2010, January 21st. There you go. It's then going to apply the proper amount of vacation and sick hours based on this client's specifications. That's what it'll work. So you just enter an employee date here. You'll notice that the areas that are light blue are areas where you're supposed to be entering information in. Areas that are black with white font are locked formula areas, and you don't want to touch them. You shouldn't touch them because you don't need to. They're just automatic, and they're going to do everything for you. So we've entered in, at the beginning of the year also, on January 1st, there's an amount of vacation and sick hours that's been accrued from the previous year that hasn't been used yet. You need to type that here, what the vacation was and what the sick amount of balance was here. So once you've done that, you can start moving on to the daily entry sheet, and this is where you enter in employees' information every single day. This light blue area, you would click, you'd say, all right, well, Ken, what day did he work? He worked on January 2nd, and he worked 6 hours and then took 2 hours sick. I don't know, maybe I did, maybe I didn't. Then you have a different employee. You can hold down the Alt button. Also is another way, instead of clicking that little arrow that's right here on the right hand side, you can also use Alt. Let's say John Smith also worked on the 2nd, and he worked 8 regular hours. And then what about the next day? You can type it in too, but it's much easier to click this or use Alt. So let's give myself a couple days work here. Let's say 1/3, 1/4. Notice it'll give you the days of the week. Maybe people working on the weekends. Then maybe we go here, 1/9. Sure, why not? 8. Let's just put pretty much 8 all around. So you're able. Well, actually, let's give myself some overtime on this day, perhaps. 8, 8, 8, 8. Now, what will happen is all this stuff will roll in once you've entered in all your daily information. All this will roll into what's called the weekly all data sheet. And in the weekly all data sheet, you have all the information that's going to be the core build up to your pay stub and to all of your reports. So this area here, like where it says regular hours, these are my hours for this period of 1/6/2013. Now say that usually you're going to be doing only one pay period at a time. So it's a good idea to use these filters that I have up here. These little arrows, these are filters that you can use to view all different information and view it in a easier way so that you're not looking at the entire list. There are not thousands, there are tens, not hundreds of different columns of formulas that are involved in here. So you don't want to have to look at it all at the same time. There's no need to have a lot of them hidden behind the just can't see them because they're just hidden rows, but I'll actually open them up and show them to you later. So, well, let's work at the very first pay period. So let's go in here to week ending, and all we want to do is we want to look at just this very first January 6th ending period. And this will show all your 10 employees and how many of the hours they had during the period, and then you can start to put in specific information for that week's payroll. This can have additional federal tax withheld. Let's say that I have $25 out of my paycheck that comes out every week. Is there additional state? Sure, maybe there's garnishments, things like that. Let's say John doesn't have any. You don't have to type in zeros, but for the sake, why not? Hourly rate. Now, a lot of times you want to put the hourly rate in for the person and then just kind of copy it all the way down for their whole, if they're not planning on getting a raise for several months or for a year, or when they're going to get a raise, you can just copy it and then paste it down. Or you can type it in every time. Let's say I'm getting $20 an hour, and let's say John's getting 15. Are there any non-taxable deductions for certain types of insurance things that are, or medical, for something like that? Maybe $35 every paycheck goes toward medical. It's not taxable. Maybe there's a taxable insurance deduction that is taxable. You'll know what's what. Let's say there's $10 there. Did I get a bonus in this period? You could type something in there if you did. This here is for sales for commission. This client wanted a different tier of commissions for different people based on sales. So there's an amount of, there's a basis for this commission. Let's say that they sold $1,000 worth of net sales that are basis for the commission. There's a 40% tier, there's a 50% tier. I'm going to put down 1,000 in the 40% tier. That would be $400 additional pay, right? Or that's a lot. Let's actually say it was $500 and 50%. It's a little more reasonable. And then your reimbursements. Did the person purchase anything and needed to be reimbursed? And it's it's not a taxable item. It's separate from that. It's just a reimbursement item. It's not really income. Let's say I was driving around and 42 cents a mile and I drove 50 miles. So you could say equals 50 times 0.42, and that'd be $21 in gas reimbursement. And that's all that this client needed. Right? So you got all this done, and keep in mind, if you don't want to look at this pay period, you can then open this up and clear this filter. Never, ever, ever, notice never, ever, ever, ever sort all of this, because if you sort all of it, it's going to change the structure and how all the formulas work. So you don't ever want to sort it. You just want to use the filters by clicking on certain things. So don't use the sort in any way, because it's going to screw stuff up. So we're going to open this up again. I'm going to clear all the filters and show everything again. Okay, so we've done all our weekly data. Now we can go to our pay stub, and the pay stub, there's two areas where you need to do something on the pay stub. One here is the pay period week ending. What pay period are we looking at? You can simply choose it. And notice nothing's showing down here because we haven't chosen an employee yet. So we need to choose an employee over here. So the first period, Ken, you get to put your business name here and all your business information here. All of my information will show. Just like this. What pay period in this business, the check comes out the next day. What's my hourly rate? How many regular hours did I work? How many OT hours did I work? It's going to total up all your hours. It's going to total up if I used any vacation. Let's go back and let's say that, for example, like there's a day we're kind of missing here, right? This started on Wednesday, January 2nd. Well, what about January 1st, which is Tuesday? I guess it could be a holiday, right? Most likely. Well, then that would be under the all other paid hours would be a holiday hour. But one thing I want to do is, let's say here that I use some vacation hours here. Look at what happens on the pay stub automatically. Sick hours and vacation hours, they all appear just like that. As soon as you do changes in the daily, everything's going to roll all the way forward onto your pay stub. This is now going to break out every single possible part of your check. How much was a reimbursement, how much was a commission, what's your gross wages. If there is no 401k, actually I can delete this. I know this client does not have a 401k. I won't delete it right now because I have to look at something else, but taxable gross wages, how much federal tax is going, what's the employee's portion of Social Security, what's the employee's portion of Medicare, what state are we in, this is the municipality tax, supplemental insurance tax, that's for totals, and then your net check amount. So you've got 42 hours and you end up with $845 a week here. Now this will show you how many hours you had remaining. Now the person has 23 hours remaining because when you go back and you look and say, well, how many hours did they have at the start of the year? We said 25 is what we said for vacation and 12 for sick. Well, how many were used for vacation? 2. So 25 minus 2 is 23, and 12 minus 2 is 10. There's 2 sick. So this will change automatically. You move to the next pay period, for example. You're going to see that there's hardly any information put in because I only did one day into the next pay period. I think it was on, what's that, Wednesday the 9th, right? So there's hardly anything in there. But if we did, you would see a full check. But you see the year-to-date information over here starts to flow through. This is what the previous paycheck was, and if we had any current information, it would add to it. So you also have reports. You have 941 report that you have to file, sometimes quarterly, sometimes monthly, depending on the size of your business. These are all pivot tables. The 941 report, the state tax report, and the state unemployment report. All you do to get them to update, you have to do something. You click inside of them, you right-click, and you press refresh. And as soon as you do that, everything's going to populate. You know, what quarter do we care about? Well, we could say we care about quarter 1. I mean, it's all quarter 1 data, so it doesn't really matter. It doesn't look too different. Or you could just do 1 week at a time if you're a bigger business. Do the select multiple items. If you're in Excel 2007, which is what I'm doing this in. If you're in Excel 2010 or 2013, we're going to have these things called pivot slicers that make this look much prettier. And they're little bubbles of filters that we put on the side. But a lot of people only have Excel 2007, so I'm doing this in Excel 2007 for you that have that version. And you can just do this 1 week at a time and show you what your liability is and that check that you're going to have to mail out to the government, or direct deposit, hopefully, or transfer. So this breaks down all the different areas, what the gross wages were, what the FICA wages were, the employer's percentage and the employee's percentage, which are the same this year. There used to be a tax holiday a couple years ago where employees paid less of a percentage. That doesn't happen anymore. There's also an additional Medicare for employees making over $200,000 a year. Not showing that on here because this client did not need that, but there is an additional percentage. I think it's 0.9% over $200,000. So I can program that in if you have a business where you're paying people a lot of money, and that applies to them. The state tax report is already refreshed, but is under the same principles where you get to choose whatever week you want to look at. And it'll show you what the state tax is, and also this is a county in Ohio that this is the percentage that goes to that county. So this would be part of your state report, and you can change your quarters and everything like that. Unemployment, same thing. It's going to be, I think we need to add quarters on here. I'll show you real quick how you do that. There's something called a field list, and we care about quarters. And I'm going to grab quarter, and I'm going to put it right there, and now I'll be able to choose whatever quarter I want. Of course, like for example, quarter 2 there's going to be nothing because I haven't put in any data for quarter 2, but quarter 1, it's the quarter we're in, and this is where all the data is. You owe $19.50 on these wages at this rate here of 1.6%. So this is the basics when everything's working great and you just have to do data entry. Sometimes some people pick up my payroll application in the middle of the year and they need to add in their old information. And the way to do that is whenever something doesn't match, we have to open up the weekly data sheet and go in and fix stuff. And I'm going to give you a really brief tour of how that works. I'm going in here, I'm highlighting all this, and I'm unhiding. And when you unhide it, you get to see all the different formulas that are a part of this. And for example, you may have put these hours in at this beginning period of this January 6th ending period. And you need to change something like federal tax or state tax. You then have to find the column that's related to federal tax or state tax. For example, this is the state tax column. And if you need to change how much that is, it's not $45.69. It's actually, it was off by a few pennies. Maybe it's $45.12. You just type over it. It's going to then roll forward and change everywhere. I don't recommend doing this. These are formulas that I've set up to work. So if you're going to do this, you have to do it just one time to input all your information. But anywhere where you have issues, where you need to make things match your old historical records, you'll go in and you'll find the right columns, and I'll help you define what they are because I programmed them, and you will then just change them in order. You know, you look and say, all right, I changed that for that employee, I need to look at a different employee, I need to look at John Smith's records. Okay, just click John Smith, and then we'll go and we'll find the right pay periods and the right columns and make everything match exactly. And then all your cumulative records will be great, and you can pick up this payroll and you can start using it as soon as you get it and get everything in here, and all of your cumulative reports will be absolutely accurate and everything will be great. And you can limit the amount of elbow grease that you have to put into doing your payroll, because I've tried to make it as easy as possible for you. I've been doing this for years, and everybody seems to like it. So if you have any questions or you're interested in purchasing one of these templates, they range from $50 to a few hundred, depending on how many specifications you need and what type of industry you are. This is a weekly version. I have a semi-monthly version that's also done and ready to go. I have not done a monthly version or a bi-weekly version, but I'm open to doing it if you need one. So there you go. That's Kenstock, and you can contact me at ken@kenstock.com, or go to kenstock.com, or view some of the other payroll videos that I have where I do a little more in-depth analysis of how a lot of these formulas work if you're interested. So thank you and good luck.